Good morning, everybody. I'm Teresa Perrin, and this is my stock market watch list for Thursday, February 9th, 2023. First of all, I hope you can hear me. If you hear an annoying noise in the background, that is some massive air purifier that they brought in to start the process of my lovely kitchen flood that I had this weekend and basement. So I apologize in advance, but I don't know how long this thing is going to be in my house, but I'm not turning it off because I don't want the results of if I did. So please bear with me. All right. So today, I made the futures red in color, but guys, they are actually green. Hopefully that is not a bad sign of something I'm predicting in my head, but they are actually green and things are looking to the upside again this morning. We had great earnings last night with Disney, APP, and Hood. And guys, I really think Uber gave out great earnings yesterday as well. I really think that it's showing strength in our market. Now, if you haven't seen my video last night, please watch it regarding Squeeze-A-Palooza because I'm not going to repeat all of those stocks again this morning. I might have put one or two on here just to bring it up. However, I do think technically, and I did show you the charts on each of those stocks I talked about and even looked at the cannabis sector and some others, I truly believe that you are going to see some moves to the upside in these very, very heavily beat up names. And I know that there was very few people in our FIGS call last night, but guys, FIGS is a stock everybody should have their eyes on as well. And even though I don't put it on my morning watch list every day, it's something that I personally feel is going to absolutely rip faces off. And it has been ever since 6. Next level is 13, and if it gets through that, guys, it's going to 23 or 14 has like a light resistance. Once it gets through that, 23 is where it's headed. So I'm not saying that's going to happen tomorrow or anything like that, but it still has a 17% short interest, and I firmly believe that that has a lot of upside, especially with all the dark pool buys that have been happening. It's clear to me that either shorts are closing their position, which we know they have because the short interest has gone from 24 point something close to 25% all the way down to 17%, which is still huge and still lots of opportunity. But I also think that you may be seeing a lot of longs taking positions as well because it is suited to have a very nice run continuation. All right, well, let's get into it. And please, if I forgot to say it, remember, nothing I say is financial advice. Always do your own DD. And guys, this is a watch list. This doesn't mean go run and jump out and buy these stocks. No, this means put them on your radar because you might see some significant moves in them. And sometimes I see a direction, guys, but I can't always call if it's going to be up or down. There could be opportunity in both, even though I think that it's more likely to go up. You never know. Something could happen that changes it, like an offering, and it could go straight down the toilet. So let's get it. All right, so GFAI was ripping. It was all the way up to 75 cents this morning, and they announced a 1 for 40 reverse stock split. Guys, this couldn't be more genius of them, and I know it's sold off, but if I were you thinking smart, I would be thinking this float is going from 64 million all the way down to 1.6 million. If you thought that shorts were trapped before, this is going to make like OMG type status of knocking it out of the park, in my opinion. You know, reverse splits are hard, but when you take a float and you reduce its size that substantially, boy, oh boy, I think shorts are in trouble, and I think they announced this just on purpose to tell them you're screwed. So, you might want to take advantage of this dip buying opportunity. I mean, anything can happen in this market. It could reverse split, and they could dip it before it rips. But 1.6 million float is going to make it very difficult on these guys. So as much as people hate that word, I mean, go look at some stocks that have done very well in this same predicament. And with GFAI's current condition, guys, I think this creates a huge opportunity. And I think it was strategically done on the company's part. Very interesting. All right, Hood, H-O-O-D. Guys, this had great earnings, and I believe you're going to see Hood continue making moves to the upside. Unfortunately, Disney seemed to steal the show on them yesterday. But, you know, I think that you're going to see this continue to move to the upside now. And this also has been the target of shorts ever since it IPO'd. The IPO price, guys, was like $40 or $45 if I remember correctly. And look where it sits right now, $11. All right, Lyft has earnings today in the after hours. Guys, based on Uber's earnings, I would expect Lyft's to be just as good. And therefore, I would be watching for a continuation of this move upwards. And shorts may also be starting to think, oh, crap. We saw Uber's earnings. Obviously, Lyft is in the same field. They're likely to be going to the upside too, and you might see some covering start to happen before we even get those results tonight. Carvana, CVNA. Well, guys, I don't think I need to get into much more detail with this. You know where I've stood since $6 on this stock. If you haven't heard me already, I don't know what to say, but from what we're seeing, Goldman Sachs just took like an 8.3% stance in Carvana. Clearly, my thesis of Carvana becoming Wall Street's comeback kid story, I think, is starting to really come to light, and I think that Goldman Sachs is thinking on the same page that I am, or they wouldn't be taking that huge of a stake in a company that they really thought was going to be announcing bankruptcy. So I think you're going to see this become, like I said, Wall Street's comeback baby this year, and lots of opportunity exists for Carvana if that is the case. Keep it on your radar. 65% short interest. It's only a matter of time before this thing just goes on an absolute rip. HPCO is up significantly in pre-market. Guys, I definitely think that this should be on your radar. I'm not quite sure what caused this initial movement, but it was up 74% in after hours. I may have been earnings, actually, because it is earnings season. But keep it on your radar, whether it creates an opportunity for a short back to the downside or a continuation of the upside. Definitely worth watching. TAL, T-A-L. Guys, Chinese stocks have been beat down, I think, because of that stupid balloon. But I've noticed the last couple of mornings they gap up and then Wall Street tries to pull it back down again. I think they're loading the boats again in some of these names because they realize that they were on an absolute rip prior to this. And I think that it's going to absolutely rip again. So I'm watching a lot of Chinese names. My three favorite right now are TAL, IQ, and Baba. Speaking of IQ, here it is. Guys, this one is another one you've seen Toots loading the boat in. Now, whether, you know, it's a lot of dark pool buys that you're seeing, so whether it's shorts covering or whether they're actually taking a long position is hard to say, but I really believe that this has a lot more room to the upside. In fact, for a very long time, the lowest it was going was like it was between like 14 and 24 that it would just like bounce for, look back on the chart, for a long time. I think we're at least doubling from here this year, but again, that's my thoughts, just sharing them with you. Disney, D-I-S. All right, amazing earnings call. The only thing that was interesting was that their subscribers were actually down on their streaming platform, but Wall Street didn't seem to care because they love the CEO that's back, and obviously the share price is taking that into account, in my opinion. And look at this. I mean, people are still going to Disney. Park visiting is strong. Guys, I mean, it was beat down because of the pandemic. Just like a lot of these other names, they're coming back, and Disney's coming back strong. Uber had amazing earnings, and excuse me, I just paused for a second in the middle of saying that. But guys, it was great earnings that they put out, and then you saw a weird kind of dip that I'm not quite sure why, because it was long after the earnings call, because I was listening to it, and I don't really know what brought that on. I'm guessing it had maybe something to do with the options pool or whatever, but, you know, it doesn't look very natural there. Maybe some profit taking, that's always possible too. People that held it overnight just for an earnings play. But as you can see, it's coming back to the upside, and I think you're seeing an inverse head and shoulders that's forming. Guys, with Lyft earnings, which I expect to follow suit, I would keep an eye on Uber for this continuation. It looks very strong in my opinion. AMC, all right, squeeze-a-palooza time. In my opinion, I think you're going to see some very nice moves in the coming days and weeks on AMC, GME, BBBY, even though BBBY got totally destroyed on that offering. Guys, I still think that there's potential in all of these names. BlackBerry is where my thesis began. Watch that video for more details. Clearly, GameStop is another one, and they're already up in pre-market. DraftKings. All right, we are going into the Super Bowl this weekend. DraftKings will be having commercials, betting, Guys, they're going to have a very nice move to the upside, in my opinion. Whether it's this week or next, I don't know, but it's Super Bowl time, and that is not just my thesis. I'm sure there's a lot of people thinking the same thing, and it's been beat down very hard, so keep a close eye on DraftKings. Palantir. Guys, I can't say this enough. Palantir right now is, in my opinion, one of the biggest AI stocks that are out there. Why Wall Street has not picked up on this and started pumping it yet, I don't know. My guess is it has something to do with upcoming earnings. But to me, I think it had this little gap to fill up the top that you can see in this picture, which is why I chose the 1 month chart. It filled it. Starting to move back to the upside. Keep a close eye on it. I think that this is going to go to double digits very quickly when it starts to move. GMBL is up this morning. Again, I think that may have something to do with the Super Bowl. Keep an eye on it. Not sure what's going on there, but this is another one, guys, that at some point, I'm telling you, they're going to have to announce a reverse split. When that's coming, I'm not sure, but until then, enjoy the ride. Lucid, LCID. All right, guys, Lucid is another one. It's just been consolidating between 11 and 12. I think when it breaks through 12, this thing's going to go on fire, so keep it on your radar. Top gainers this morning, HPCO, CSII, APP, and again, APP is on earnings yesterday, Gene, and CPHI. Top losers, TIVC, VWE, REVB, VTGN, and Affirm, AFRM. Okay, most active, SIRI, ETRF, AMCR, and DT. Technical analysis top list, VRT, LIBRT, NEX, NAT, and CYBN. That's it for today, guys. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.